I recently got a comment from one of you guys with a trading strategy that apparently is really good. So I decided to backtest it 100 times to see how good it actually is. For my backtesting, I will set my initial account size at $100 and I'm going to be risking 2% of my account per trade to make 3. The creator of the strategy, Jasper Brahma, says that it works well on crypto 4-hour time frame. But I know a lot of you guys love scalping, so I'm going to be testing it on Ethereum 15-minute time frame. Okay, so for this strategy, we're going to need to add 3 free TradingView indicators. So for the first indicator, we will add SSL. For the second indicator, let's add RVI. And lastly, let's add a volume oscillator to our chart. In order for this strategy to be complete, we need to adjust the settings on these indicators. So let's first double click on this SSL channel and change the periods from 10 to 20. Okay, now let's access the settings on an RVI indicator and make these lines a bit thicker. And we'll change the offset from 0 to -1. Okay, now our strategy is complete. Let's get into our trading rules. Okay, so for our trend confirmation indicator, we're going to be using this SSL channel indicator. And for our entries, we're going to be using this RVI indicator. We're only going to be looking to buy if the SSL is bullish. This means that the yellow line has to be above the red line. The next condition will be to have a new bullish cross on an RVI indicator. This means that the green line has to cross over the red line. And to confirm this signal, we will be looking at our volume oscillator for sufficient volume in the market, which means this blue line has to be above the 0 level. We also see that the indicator issued a buy signal on a previous candlestick. This is because the offset is -1. Our trigger candlestick will be the very next one. Okay, we're going to take a long position and we will set our stop loss at the recent swing low. And for this strategy, we will be targeting 1.5 times the risk. Okay, we see the price easily triggers our take profit target. Exactly opposite rules apply for short trades, so we're only going to be looking to sell if the SSL is bearish. We see the red line just crossed over the yellow line. We also have a new bearish signal from the RVI indicator, and just like with the long trades, the volume oscillator has to be above the 0%. We see all our conditions are met, and this is going to be our trigger candlestick. We will set our stop loss at the recent swing high, and we will be targeting 1.5 times the risk. Alright, let me give you a couple more examples so you have a better idea of how this strategy works. So here we see we've got a valid short entry, all our indicators agree. And this trade turned out to be profitable. This long signal is not confirmed by the volume oscillator. We see the indicator is below 0. Here we've got a valid long entry. We see all our indicators are aligned properly. Okay, we see this trade turned out to be successful as well. Alright, so now we know exactly how to trade with this strategy, so let's actually backtest it 100 times and see how well it performs. Alright, so I just finished my backtesting, and as we can see, the strategy is not that bad. Our win rate is only 50%, but we increased our account size by 59.65%. The equity curve looked pretty good at the beginning, but then we started seeing some unexpected drawdowns. The profit factor for the strategy is 1.5, and we had 5 consecutive wins against 6 consecutive losses. I think this strategy would work better on a higher time frames. So overall, I'd say this strategy is not bad, yet it does have a room for improvement. And this is what I'm going to be doing in the second part of this video. See, the problem with the strategy is that this RVI indicator is not perfect for entries, because I noticed a lot of times it gives false signals. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove these two indicators and I'm going to add new ones. Okay, so let's first search for volume flow and pick this one right here. And for the second indicator, we will use a regular volume. Okay, now let's add a moving average to this volume indicator and change the length from 20 to 30. Now let's change the settings on this volume flow indicator. We're going to change the signal length from 5 to 20 and the maximum volume cutoff from 2.5 to 8.5. We will also make these lines a bit more visible. Okay, now our strategy is ready. Let's get into our entry rules. Okay, so for a short signal to be valid, we will need to have a new bearish cross on the SSL channel indicator so that the red line crosses above the yellow line. The volume flow indicator has to be bearish, which means the red line has to be above the green line and they both have to be below the zero line. And finally, this volume histogram has to be colored in red and it has to be above this blue moving average. And once we have all our conditions met, we're going to go ahead and place a sell order. We will set our stop loss at the recent swing high. And our take profit target will be set at 1.5 times the risk. Exactly opposite works for long trades. We first need to have a bullish signal issued by the SSL channel indicator. The volume flow indicator has to be bullish as well so that the green line is above the red line and they both are above the zero level. And finally, this volume histogram has to be green color and it has to be above this moving average. We will set our stop loss at the recent swing low. Okay, let me give you a few more examples. So here we see we've got a valid long entry and the signal is confirmed. We see we closed our first trade with a nice profit. This short signal is not confirmed. This long entry is not valid either. We couldn't take a long position there either because the volume was below the moving average. We see sometimes when we're missing out on really good trades, but it's all about trusting your system and following the rules. Okay, this long entry was definitely confirmed. And we see we close this trade with a nice profit as well. Okay, let's now do another backtesting and see if the strategy is any better. Alright, so I just finished my backtesting and as we can see, our second strategy has shown some outstanding results. Our win rate is 64% and we increased our account size by 220.42%. The equity curve looks much better, we don't really have any serious drawdowns. And the profit factor for this strategy is 2.67 and we had 7 consecutive wins against 4 consecutive losses, which tells us that the SSL channel indicator is really good for entries. So I highly suggest you to go ahead and backtest this strategy on other timeframes and other markets as well. Okay traders, I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to smash the like button, it really helps with the algorithm. And also if you want to see more strategies like this in the future, then feel free to subscribe to Trade IQ.